Hey, welcome back to another episode of Lighting with Luke. Today we're going to be talking about the color dynamics. So if you remember in our last episode, we were talking through, if you go to your into your dynamics tab over here and you click new, let's select a light first. And you click new, you've got intensity and you've got RGB. So we've talked through the intensity tab, and today we'll talk through the RGB tab. What I am going to do though is switch this across because it might make life a little bit easier. And let's get rid of our virtual fader for now. All right, let's go ahead and select our lights. What I'm going to do for this is select pretty much all of our lights. And you can see that we've got a couple of different ones in here. We'll go across to our our dynamics tab and click intensity. What we want to do is, when you've got all of your lights selected, including your front LED ones here, the attributes that you want to select are blue, green, red, and white. So just hit Shift, include white into the mix, and hit OK. Now what we can see here is pretty much the same setup as our intensity dynamics, where we have amplitude, offset, center, top, bottom, and we have our wave shape up the top here as well. So the color dynamic will follow the same principles as the intensity dynamic, with a few differences in there. So again, I just put all of my amplitudes up to 100 in here. And the reason that, the main difference between the intensity and the color is that with color, obviously you have 4 attributes that you're looking at instead of just intensity, which is the 1 attribute. So we have up the top here our red attribute, middle one here is green, blue, and white down the bottom. And what we're going to do is, if we work in our red tab up the top here, that's actually going to change it for all of the other attributes down here while we're working in our amplitude and our offset column. So you can see here that we've got our amplitude, but then you can adjust the amplitude for all of your other attributes. Like if you want your green amplitude to not be as intense, then you can sort of work it like this a little bit if you want. And then once you've delinked those, you can work it that way if you wanted to. I just kind of like to keep everything at 100. That sounds like a meme. All right. Then moving across to the color wheel and how we're going to be doing this is, what I find the easiest thing to do is to not worry about your center percentage. So bring everything down to 0 in here. Click across to your top tab, select the color that you would like as your primary color within the color chase. So let's go with purple. And you can just come down here and click on your color wheel, select purple. It will automatically populate into here what you want. Let's make it like a lighter purple, like that. I'm also going to bring my intensity up to 100 so we can see it in here. And then for the bottom, you select your secondary color. So let's go with blue in here. Now what you can see is that over here, can I zoom in here? Yeah. Whoops. So you can see for our light that we're going from blue down to off and then back up to pink. So what it's doing is for the center, it's starting it off, coming up to pink, going back to off, going to blue, and then going off again. Which is all well and good, but it does look a little bit funny with your lights, and if you're looking for a nice clean transition, that's not the best way to go about it. So then what you need to do is come across to your center tab, and then you just want to choose in your color wheel here, a color that's kind of in between your top and your bottom. So I'm going to choose right there. And then you can see that now this, instead of just switching between the two, it's just a nice slow transition between the two. Which is good. Now I've only done that for one of our lights. So let me select all of our lights and do the same. So I'll bring my center down for all of these, and then I'll select my center and I'll put it right in the middle. And now they should all just have a nice slow transition between pink and blue. Again, like we did with our intensity, you can bring up your offset here to 0.5, select shift in here. Sorry, not shift, control. I panicked a bit when shift wasn't working. And then you can move these across. You can see that we've got quite a step between the two because we have a lot of lights selected. And down here, you can see that all of the lights are transitioning between pink and blue. And on here, if I sort of zoom in a little bit, you can see that the lights are going between pink and blue. Let me select all of my lights again. So that's a really good way to do it. Again, as we did with intensity, you have all of your sorting and your grouping down here. So if you wanted to sort by name, that's kind of a good way to block everything together. You can see that the offset did change because it's rearranged the order here. So now we can change our offset back to 0.5 and then select control, do it again, and it will change the order of the sequence that we're going through with those lights. We can select random if we're looking for like a nice starry night sort of look. Again, sorry, need to do that up here. Change all of that. And it's now sort of more in a random sequence, which looks quite nice for a worship song. There's all of the groups and the subgroups and the buddying that you can do down here. You can have a play around with all of that sorting and grouping and sort of figure out which one you like. And again, up here, you can change what sort of waveform those lights are going through. So that is how you introduce a color dynamic. And what I forgot to do in the intensity dynamic is actually show you how to put this into your cue. So very similar to what we did in our very first episode on just programming, come up here and click record. And you can add that to one of your existing cue lists in here as a new cue if you wanted to, or you can start a new cue list up here as well. And that is it for color dynamics. It's nice and fun. It's an easy one to sort of make a song go from basic to looking quite nice. And it's not too hard to learn. So hopefully you can have some fun with that. Cheers. See you next time.